said you already rewrote the resolution. You rewrote his resolution already? What did you write? Okay. Just told me. My staff keeps me.
I would like to welcome everyone Again, I would like to welcome everyone present here today and those who are watching us for the broadcast of December 3rd. It's already December 2019 for our regular board meeting, and I'm calling it to order with all board members present except Mr. Barrera, and I know he's on his way. So with that, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. I would like to take a moment to recognize a couple of visitors that we have here in the city today from the California School Board Association Educational Equity Network. We have with us Nicole Anderson and Deborah Keys. Thank you both for being here today. They're working with a couple of us, Dr. Mike and myself, on trying to bring the board to a place where it's effective in our equity outreach and ensuring that all children are learning. So welcome to our city, and thank you for being here. We spent time with you today. Michael, did you want to say?
Yeah, I'd also like to add and thank Nicole and Deborah for being here. They are doing some excellent work across the state. We happen to be one of the 10 school districts that were selected a year ago to participate in this equity outreach and to increase the capacity of the board in order to develop a lens that enables us to move equity across the district so we can have truly quality schools in every neighborhood, as well as to have the opportunity to create a program where every teacher knows every child by name and need, every principal knows every child by name and need, and we get to know every child by name and need. But it's through the individual effort that we're making with the help of our Equity Network group to bring that vision to the district, and they're bringing that vision across the entire state of California. So thank you.
And thank you. With that, I would like to have a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So moved.
Second. Okay, we have the motion on the floor. Let's please vote on this. And that passes 4-0. Thank you. Right now, I'd like for you to turn your attention to the screens. One of our former students, who was the ASB president, Jerry Yang, has an important message for you that we'd like for you to visit.
Today's meeting of the Board of Education is a business meeting that is conducted in public, and board members will not engage in a dialogue with the members of the audience. The opportunities for members of the public to provide input to the board on agendized items and to provide testimony on non-agenda items is through the submittal of an electronic public testimony request. The time period for speakers on each agendized item are set by the board as described in the board's bylaws and will be announced to the members of the public as each agendized item comes up for discussion. Speakers on agendized items will be called on to speak during the discussion of the item. If you wish to address the board on any of today's agendized items or on a subject that is not on today's agenda, and your name is not on the speaker list, printed on the blue paper located at both entrances to the auditorium, and you have not already submitted a public testimony request, please complete the electronic form. For your convenience, iPads are available at the reception desk in the lobby and are also on the table at the back of the auditorium. Public testimony requests are automatically time-stamped and must be submitted prior to the beginning of the discussion on an item. If you need assistance completing or submitting the request, please see Board Services staff. You are asked to provide your name or the name you wish to be called by on the public testimony request so that the Board Action Officer can ensure that all speakers on an item have been called. Public testimony on non-agenda matters will be heard at the conclusion of all agendized business. And a Spanish interpreter is available and is seated at the media table if you need any assistance. Thank you for your interest in participating in our board meeting.
And thank you, Jerry, wherever you are right now. Thank you. With that, he's gone away to school to Carnegie Mellon. He graduated in June, and now he's at Carnegie Mellon. So soon we'll have someone else doing this, right, John?
Yep.
Very good. With that, we have no student instructional matters, and we'll move forward to item D1, which is the Proposition S, Z, and Measure YY updates to the Board of Education Construction Bond Project Plan and resolution in the matter of approving revised Propositions S, Z, and Measure YY plan. Please come forward with your staff.
I move for approval of this item.
Second.
Thank you. Let's just wait until we get the presentation. Okay.
Mr. Delkaroff is here. Thank you, President Whitehurst Payne. This is a presentation, as you said, on our Prop S, Z, and then Measure YY, a regular update to the board around the commitments and promises that we've made to our community to renovate and modernize our aging school facilities throughout the district, and all of the significant construction projects that are currently underway at least 34 San Diego Unified Schools. And tonight we're going to present our progress and update on the bond programs.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Whitehurst Payne, members of the board, Superintendent Martin. This report is an update to the progress and financial status of our current Prop S, Prop Z, and Measure YY bond programs, as well as a look ahead at our plan to address current and urgent needs to improve our school facilities over the next few years. It's been a year now since 65% of the voters clearly endorse the direction our district is heading and approve Measure YY. And as we close out 2019, we have many successes to celebrate and some great memories like those pictured here, the students at Pacific Beach Middle School demolition party with their souvenirs from the old classroom building that we're demolishing. I want to start the presentation by acknowledging our team of dedicated facilities planning and construction staff whose effort make all these accomplishments possible. And the challenging work that I'm presenting here is also supported by many other departments, including finance, IT, strategic sourcing and contracts, PPO, communications, legal services, real estate, and several others. I'm also grateful for the support this board has for our facilities programs and for the leadership of Superintendent Martin, Stacy Monreal, Greg Ottinger. You had the courage to place these measures on the ballot and create innovative new education spaces that support our students into the future. So with the passage of Measure YY, we're starting to prioritize and accelerate some projects in key areas, improving school safety, providing safe drinking water and clean renewable energy, and also to make instructional focused facilities improvement outlined in the bond measure. We've integrated the Measure YY projects into Prop S and Z and coordinated all the planning improvements to benefit economies of scale. Some of the larger, more complex projects are designed and constructed in phases to reduce the impact on schools. Student safety is the highest priority we have, and thus far we've invested $56.5 million in physical security improvements at our schools. Over the next 5 years, we'll invest $250 million in physical safety improvements. The initial focus of this work will address three critical areas: securing a single point of entry, campus perimeter fencing, and improved wired and wireless emergency communication systems. The new two-way intercom PA emergency communication notification systems are designed to provide efficient, audible, and visual communication in an emergency. These systems are being successfully piloted at 2 schools and have the capability to utilize mobilized devices to initiate alerts and receive notifications. We're already processing the construction projects or contracts for this work, and they're scheduled to be brought to the board in January 2020. Another area of focus is drinking water quality. Drinking water quality water is a key component to student safety and security. In early 2017, we collected 5 water samples from every district school and tested them. And any school that had results above 5 PB were 5 parts per billion were prioritized. And then water sampling was conducted at those priority schools for all the water outlets. So school drinking water has been sampled and remediated district-wide to below a 5 part per billion level. We've collected over 2,500 drinking water samples so far. We're currently piloting a filtered drinking fountain system and hydration system for district-wide implementation that will move the needle down to a 1 part per billion or better water quality. And staff is developing an implementation plan that prioritizes younger students, and those policy details and plan will be presented at a future board meeting for consideration and action. This is a summary of our progress of renovating and modernizing schools today. We've completed 139 major construction projects, including 82 new classroom buildings like the ones that you see here at Wilson and Hoover that are under construction. These projects have replaced 674 aging portable classrooms. Prop SZ and Measure YY also provide the opportunity to transform education spaces to support our academic programs. Modernization projects include collaborative learning spaces, maker spaces, specialized learning environments that support STEAM, VAPA, and CCTE curricula. Our innovative new learning spaces are infused with technology, and this work is accomplished in close collaboration with our IT department. Together, we've advanced education technology at a large scale across our district. Every year, we replace the 5-year-old student devices across the district. This year, we will replace over 37,000 student devices with new Chromebooks and over 1,700 teacher laptop computers. This summer, we installed 1,141 new 45-inch box-light interactive displays and sound reinforcement systems and 950 document cameras. What backs up all this technology is the infrastructure. Our advanced wired and wireless infrastructure connects students and teachers to the information and applications. This infrastructure also supports the planned emergency communication systems that I mentioned in the earlier slide. And we continue to leverage federal E-rate funds to accomplish this work. Air conditioning. Air conditioning all our schools has made a big difference for all students and teachers across the district, and I'm pleased to report that construction is underway at the last 19 schools. We're in construction on all the air conditioning, with one lone exception at San Diego High, and that school has about 75% of its classrooms air conditioned, and we're waiting to complete the lease at San Diego High in the spring, and we'll start construction in the spring on San Diego High. But all of the schools now are under construction. The last school to be completed will be Bird Rock Elementary School, right on the beach almost. So in terms of sustainability, which has been a big focus of the program, 8 schools of the first phase of the solar program are fully energized, and we've started construction on the second phase of 10 schools. Engineering design is underway on the third phase, which is 14 more schools. They'll start construction in the summer of 2020. These solar projects are essential to achieving the Climate Action Plan net zero goal that we set to reach the net zero by 2030. They also reduce our utility expenditures. By the end of 2020, San Diego Unified solar panels will produce 25.5 megawatt hours per year in clean energy and offset 8,100 tons a year of CO2 emissions and save about $4.5 million a year in utility costs. Joint use field projects transform school playgrounds from decomposed granite to grass. They also facilitate public access after school hours on weekends and during summer breaks. Some of the exciting events, the opening day events, are always a fun event with the elementary school students on their new fields. San Diego Unified now has 85 joint use fields that comprise over 295 acres. 3 fields were recently completed in Canto, Gage, and Linda Vista, and 6 are in construction now. Charter schools, there's a lot of charter school people out here. Charter school facilities projects are also funded by the pro rata share of Prop Z and Measure YY. This slide summarizes all the board-approved projects that provide better quality facilities for charter schools. To date, $132.8 million has been expended on district charter schools facility improvements. We believe that participation from and input from parents, students, and teachers and staff and community members help to improve the facilities design process and improve the quality of our projects. And thus far, our team has facilitated 471 site master planning design task force community meetings for this program. The communications team always does a great job coordinating school and community stakeholder events, and we have a comprehensive website that contains detailed information about our program and projects planned and underway at every neighborhood school. 2019 has been another great year for emerging business outreach. EB participation is over 47%. This year we've more than tripled our DVBE market capacity. In the minority-owned business subcategory, we've achieved 14%, which is more than 9 times market capacity. In the women-owned business subcategory, we've achieved more than 15 times the local market capacity. Tomorrow, we're co-hosting a Doing Business with a District workshop in partnership with the San Diego Contracting Opportunities Center. And we're currently on track to meet our business outreach goals. One of the reasons for our emerging business outreach success is the micro-projects program, which awards projects to certified small businesses, and we've awarded 12 micro-project contracts totaling $117,000 to local emerging businesses during this fiscal year. On July 28th, 2019, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of our successful partnership with San Diego Building Trades and Carpenters Unions. Under the Project Stabilization Agreement, we've employed over 12,353 workers on 159 projects. The union referrals are key to achieving our goal to employ residents from targeted zip codes in San Diego. 26% of all our projects, of the workers on our projects, live in target zip codes, which represent areas of the district with high free and reduced lunch participation. However, 83.1%, or 4 out of every 5 workers from targeted zip codes in San Diego Unified, are union members. So the local building trades are the people that are actually referring these people from the targeted zip codes. They've referred 2,860 workers from targeted zip codes since the beginning of this program. And since the inception of the program, we've created 25,510 job years of employment. In May and October, a total of $350 million in Measure YY bonds were issued, and since May, we've expended $42 million of those proceeds. In addition, Prop S and Z expenditures total $2.46 billion. As you can see, the volume of facilities improvements and bond expenditures has increased year over year. So in fiscal year 17-18, we expended $344 million. In 18-19, $489 million. and we've got $651 million of work in progress today. I'm almost done. 2 more slides. Sorry about that. The cumulative change order rate is 2.8%, and our current projects are running 4.5% under budget. We plan to issue the bonds at the least cost of taxpayers, and we are participating heavily in this Prop 51 state matching program. The entire Prop SZ and YY program, 2019 through 2033, is detailed in attachment 1 of the item. And our plan integrates the YY projects with Prop S and Z projects, coordinating the plan improvements and benefiting economies of scale. I also want to appreciate the work of our advisory committee volunteers. Staff facilitates Prop S and Z citizens oversight committees and charter school facilities advisory committees. Both committees are functioning well. And in the next item on your agenda, you'll hear an update from our ICOC members, Bernadette Buckowitz and Andy Berg. And I'll finish with staff recommendation to adapt the attached resolution approving Prop S and Z and Measure YY project plan as shown on attachment 1. And there's a column that references the voter guide pages to each project, providing additional transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any speakers? No speakers. Board members, you want to say anything? I'd like to say something.
Yeah, I would. I want to thank Lee and all of your staff for all the amazing work that you guys have done. In the last 10 years of being on the school board, it's been an honor to fight side by side with you and your staff and the superintendent and the rest of the board and the community, the teachers and the students that have all called for these bonds funds to go towards a lot of very important things that have really made a big difference in the lives of our students, such as the air conditioning in every classroom, solar panels so that we can pay for all the energy costs of those solar power. The solar power can pay for the air conditioning. The grass fields. We used to have over 50 schools where children could not play on grass. They had to go play on gravel. And I'll never forget visiting schools when students would fall down on the gravel and get rocks stuck in their knee. So thank you for that. The 21st century technology, not only did we go out and have a plan with the superintendent and your department to acquire the technology, but a 5-year replacement plan so that we stay up to date. That's critical. The new classrooms, especially at schools like Patrick Henry High School, are really, really helpful, especially from what I'm hearing from a lot of teachers that are getting the opportunity for the first time not to teach in a 60 to 80-year-old portable classroom. Thank you. The water initiative is incredible, especially with the idea that we're putting in water bottle refill stations in schools to reduce overall plastic bottle consumption. The security measures, I think, are appropriate, unfortunately, in our day and age. One of the things that I think is very important is you'd mentioned that we've created over 12,000 jobs, construction jobs and other jobs in targeted zip codes. And I just want to make it clear to the public what targeted zip codes means. It means that we've identified zip codes of parents and folks that live in our school district because they are very likely to have students in our schools. And those are the folks that we want to employ. Targeted zip codes also include zip codes like in City Heights, where we need to provide opportunities for the people and the families living in those areas. And then finally, you closed talking about the bond rating. And I think it's very important to reemphasize the fact that we have one of the best, highest bond ratings of any school district in the state of California. And over the years, that has saved taxpayers millions of dollars in interest that we did not have to pay on bond loans. So thank you very much for all of that amazing work over the years. But of course, I have one question. You know the question. Where are we with the Patrick Henry High School Stadium project?
There's 3 areas that we're wrapping up on. One is, so we have landscape, so the trees have been delivered and they're beginning to plant the trees. Of course, we had a little rain, so that slowed things down. There's a little bit of hardscape. There's a couple small minor concrete pours that need to be completed, and there's some low voltage work, meaning the sound system. They're setting up the sound system, and then we'll be into punch lists. So. The elevator has to be certified. So the elevator that takes you down to the base of the stadium, the elevator inspector will inspect the elevator in January. So they'll be starting the architectural punch list this week. So my estimate is roughly January, February, everything will be done. In terms of, we're substantially complete on the buildings, if you will. All the buildings. There's just a little. It's just land. We're into landscaping now. So.
Okay, and then also the electrical in the booths.
Yes.
That's.
So
are we going to get to that in a couple of months? Or?
So they're going to be putting. There were some panels that were meant to be open, but they're going to be putting some casework over those panels because they want it to be. They think it's more sanitary to have those closed. So, and so
it's a little safer per OSHA. I heard.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for all your work again. I know that you're going to do a great job and finish Patrick Henry High School Stadium once and for all. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We hear about Patrick and Dr. Evans.
Yes, I don't have much to say because the program is very well run and there's not much controversy. There's just a lot of good things that are happening both in the district and for the benefit of the taxpayers in general. Just to clarify one little question when people are always asking about in terms of when it was hot. As far as the air conditioning, it talks about 2016 and 2020, 65 projects. 46 schools construction complete and 19 construction in progress. Does that mean that at all of the schools it's either complete or currently in progress?
That's right. So we're now into construction on the last 19 schools, except for San Diego High, which when we get the lease, we'll start construction in the spring. And about 75% of the classrooms at San Diego High are air conditioned already. So it's smaller number, but still, most of those schools, I have a list of them. I don't know if you want me to read them or not, but they're mostly located on the coast, in the coastal areas of the district. Obviously, we went from the hottest to the coldest areas.
But they're also currently in progress?
They're all in construction now.
Okay, so there isn't any school other than the detail at San Diego High that is not, either it has it or it's being built right now?
Yeah, so next fall, we shouldn't, I mean, we unless there's a power outage, we won't likely have any issues around,
days?
Thinking about closing, heat days, exactly.
We won't have to close schools because it's too hot.
That's right.
Well, as we keep using solar, we won't depend so much on SDG&E.
Thank you. Dr. McQuarrie, unless Mr. Bonds.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge the massive effort that you're making. I'm not sure people understand how big of an effort this is for a school district this size. It's the second largest school district in California. We have 15.1 million square feet of instructional space, and that's 200 facilities with 181 school sites. So the effort to modernize those and to maintain those and to keep them in operating at a high level of quality demands an incredibly complex piece of work. I want to thank you and your team for doing that, as well as Drew and operations and maintenance. And given the massive size, numbers of facilities and square foot, we don't have enough money to do the work that we need to do in the projects. And what I'm wondering is that it is an effort of setting priorities. And you mentioned that within the drinking water quality, the priority was based on young schools with younger age students came first. In the situation with air conditioning, the priority was we'd start inland and work with the areas that had the hottest zones and move towards the coastal areas, with the Bird Rock being the furthest extension of that. So those are the priorities for that. I'm wondering, what other priorities are you using to determine which schools get modernized and in what order and what sequence?
Well, when we initially set up the overall program, we looked at the condition of the facilities, and we looked at the number of old portables. and a few other factors, but primarily the main driver for prioritization was the actual facility condition, which was a ratio of the amount of repairs that we had estimated. We took a multi-faceted team out to every school and analyzed how much repair work was needed versus the total current replacement value, and that was a main driver for the prioritization of the overall list of projects that's in attachment 1. Yeah.
Thank you.
Before Mr. Barrera speaks on that point alone, that's why I had you to look at Crawford and now at Marshall to see what's going on in terms of bringing them in faster because of the condition of the facilities. Mr. Barrera.
Thank you, President Whitehurst. And I apologize for being late, Lee.
Sure.
And you, I'm sure, covered most of this, but I wonder if you could just elaborate a little bit on the sustainability side. Do we anticipate being a net producer of energy at some point moving forward in this project?
Right now our goal is to get to net zero.
Yep.
We're about 30%. So we produced, by the end of 2020, we'll produce 25.5 million kilowatt hours, okay, which is about 30% of about 33 or 35% of our load. We consume about 75 megawatts. But that load, part of the way we get to net zero is by reducing our demand.
Yeah.
So we're building energy efficiency into the new buildings to lower the demand and increasing our production. But our goal, right now, our target is to get to zero, not
By
necessarily
2030, yeah.
produce to be a net producer of power above and beyond what we consume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and does part of that, if we were going to, at some point, kind of cross that line and get to be a net producer, does that involve, investing in storage?
So, well, we're actually looking at storage right now. The reason, there's a couple reasons for storage. One is to reduce the peak demand charge.
Yeah.
The other is, it's a way to store excess power that's created during daylight hours that need to be, that when we need to consume power in the evenings and also on cloudy days, you get or days where there's intermittent sun.
Yep.
So we're actually, there's some grant programs that we're looking at right now that we think are going to be highly beneficial, and we'll likely bring something back to the board on energy storage soon. But right now we're still doing the investigative work to make sure that it all pencils out and it makes sense for us to implement at this time. We've been pulling the low-hanging fruit off the tree, if you will. We're energizing with solar the higher use sites, and then we're working our way up to the schools that use less energy to balance those out. And then there's some schools that are not set up as well for solar. They're more dense campuses, so we have to think about different approaches like energy storage for those schools.
Yep. No, that's terrific. And I just, I heard Mr. Beiser and Dr. McQuarrie refer to this. I think the scale of the effort that you're leading is, something that we sometimes take for granted because you're just out there, doing the work every day. But we're talking about an infrastructure program that during the life of this program, first and foremost, is going to revitalize our school facilities. And so our students are going to be, in state-of-the-art facilities. And that's why we do this, and that's the most important reason that the community is invested in this. But we're also talking about the largest investment in green energy, the largest investment in quality local job creation, really in the history of this community. And there's a lot of conversations going on at the national level, good conversations, the Green New Deal, investment in, a green new economy. That's what this is, and it's happening right here, on a really large scale where because of the generosity of the taxpayers in this community, we're not only revitalizing our schools, but we are making a significant contribution to a sustainable future, and we are investing in a massive way in the economic development of our communities, particularly in the high poverty communities that many of our students are growing up in. We're changing those communities with the job creation work that we're doing, and with our partners in the building and construction trades. So I know that's not your nature, but, Lee, I hope you and the team at times have an ability to step back and reflect on the significance of what you're doing, because it's a legacy that is going to last generations in this community, and I thank you for that work.
Thank you. And I want to say that not only do I want to thank your staff, but I also want to thank the public, because they voted for this. The taxpayers voted for this. When I go out to the community, they call me the $8 billion lady. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. It's because you voted. The taxpayers voted to put this money out, and we're trying to be good stewards of it and using it to help our children. I understand we're spending about $1 million to $1.5 million a day on all of the projects that we have going. One of the things related to that is, personally, I would love to see our children are coming through. I'd love to see folks in the community beyond this, beyond the 14% and so forth. I'd like to get more of us involved. I'd like more of the children even involved to dream big about the possibility of one day working on this, so start training now. I did have a conversation with the Carpenters Association, and they indicated that they were willing to have a class for the 6th graders right now at a couple of schools, so that they can start training, and when they finish high school, they can start working on some of these projects. So that's full circle. We're talking about CCTE. This is full circle for our children, so that we're spending the money in multiple ways here, and we're looking at ways to even motivate them, because not everybody wants to go to UC San Diego and get a degree in history. But sorry about that. But some people wouldn't mind working, so we'll look at that. I just want to say one other thing related to this, well, a couple of things. The solar project. The community needs to understand that what we're building is, we have a solar program ourselves, because we've run into some difficulties with some groups wanting to provide solar energy to the community. And we'd love to do that, but our first priority is to provide a reduced budget for ourselves, so that the solar that we're producing, we try to help with our schools, because we're spending a lot of money on energy also. Just FYI for those of you who are listening. And the last little quick point that I'd just like to know, which 2 schools are the pilot schools doing the security? Oh, you don't want us to know.
Which 2 schools are the what?
The pilot security schools.
Oh, Boone and Paradise Hills. We piloted those 2 because they had the technology infrastructure, and they seemed like a good scale. So we tested a couple different versions of the emergency communication system at those schools, and the staff really likes it. It's it's very innovative. It gives you, it notifies everyone. It allows you to notify all the classrooms immediately, and you have 2-way communication. And I think there's a lot of potential in with mobile devices in interfacing with these emergency communication systems. So those are our 2 pilot schools. You're welcome to talk to those staffs and see what they think. But we've gotten a lot of good feedback, and so we're beginning to start to roll this out.
Thank you, because I get really emotional when you say Paradise Hills, and I think you know why. I mean, that was a school that we really need to be sure that we have our emergency systems working. So thank you.
Yeah.
We need a vote, don't we? All hearts and minds are clear. Let's vote. Thank you, Lane. That passes 5-0. So if we could move on to the next item. We have the Independent Citizens Oversight Committee, Propositions S, Z, and Measure YY, semi-annual update to the Board of Ed.
Right, well, just walked in. Thanks for the timing. That's perfect. I was expecting one of my colleagues to be here too, but there's a lot of traffic out there, so we'll keep this moving. My name's Andy Berg. I've been on the Citizens Oversight Committee actually since the start of Prop S. Termed out for a year based on legal issues. You can't stay for the whole time. You got to come out. But so I've been with this from the beginning. I've also been on 3 other oversight committees around the county. So the first thing I could tell you, just to cut right to the ending, is this is the best run program that I've been on in all the years, and that's kind of amazing to say, in that there's somewhere between $1.2 and $1.5 million per day in construction in this project right now. To put that in perspective, $1 million project is a pretty big project in this town. To do that every day is just pretty incredible. So staff does a really good job. That doesn't mean that, of course, some of the projects don't go perfectly. That's the nature of construction, so we do have those issues. If you want to just run through the slides, I don't know who's got the thing there. I can go through. I have the clicker. Look at that. Now someone will teach me how to use the clicker. What do I do there? Press that one? No, it's this one. Wow, look at that. Okay. All right, so the ICOC was, first off, it's, number of volunteers that are there. We have, I can show that, I'll come up in a slide later, but we have 3 committees in addition to our main group that meets regularly. So we have a finance committee, we have a construction committee that meet regularly, and we also have an executive committee of the chairs of each committee that meet to discuss stuff. So a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion. You can imagine that with the amount of projects that are going on. The key to this slide is twofold. One, it shows us out at a site, or some of us out at a site. I guess I missed that day. But we review expenditure of bond funds. I think the key word is review. So to make sure everybody understands the role of the committee, it's not a policy-making committee. You are the policy-making body. I'm looking at the policymakers. Lee's job is to do what you tell him to do and execute those policies. Our job is to review it and make sure it fits in with the bond language and with all the applicable laws and money's being spent appropriately. So I guess the way to look at it is we're looking out the rearview mirror and making sure we didn't hit anything on the road and mess things up. So that's our job, just to make that clear. Take that. You got that? You doing that for me? Thank you. I appreciate that. We spent a lot of time in the last couple of years actually going out to sites. We like to see the projects going. That's, everything else is just on paper. So a couple of the pictures up there are some of the new schools, and that's kind of the bottom line with this whole program. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of buildings, but the idea is about student learning. And I think we can all agree that if you're in a better work environment or a learning environment, you're going to do better at what you do, right? Going to work every day in a cubby hole in the basement, or going to school every day with peeling paint and the plumbing not working, you're probably not going to do as well as what you're looking up on the screen there. So that's what we try to do. Thanks. Okay, we recently just received the bond audit for the last year. That is made up of 2 parts: financial audits, which are required by law, and for the last, I think we're on the 4th year now of absolutely no findings, which is very impressive. Prior to that, there were a few, and all of those were kind of technical. The fact that you do an accrual basis and you have a fiscal year, a lot of stuff gets paid afterwards in construction. You don't know what the bills are for June, at the end of June, because contractors haven't turned in their stuff yet. So the staff found a way to get around that particular finding to try to get everything in the right year, and since then they've been absolutely clean audits. On the performance audits, those are not actually required by law. They are something extra that the district does to not only show that the money's spent effectively, but that things are being done efficiently too. So that change order rates are low, that change order percentages are low, that there are bidders on jobs, stuff's being done appropriately. So again, those came out clean. Next. A big thing when all these bonds started was deferred maintenance, MRR, making sure the facilities get better. And that's That's a big deal with schools everywhere. Frankly, that's a big deal with my house right now. I know I have to put on a new roof and termite in the next couple weeks. So when you look at facilities condition index, nobody seems to completely understand what that means. I'm going to try to explain it best I can. But the key is the lower the number is, the better. So 22% in 2014, 16% now, trending toward 10, maybe even 7% as we go down is pretty amazing. Quick definition, think of your home. If your home is worth, say, $400,000 to pick a number, and it would take $40,000 to make your home brand spanking new, you have a facility condition index of 10% on your house. Now, the school property is worth a lot more than $400,000, so we have billions of dollars worth of property here, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done. It's important to note, too, that that gets added to every day by normal wear and tear. You know, if a school's going to last 40 or 50 years on average of all the different parts, we're losing 2% of that every year. When you have billions of dollars, that 2% adds up to be a lot of money. And then realize that construction costs are not going down. The cost of nothing is going down. So, again, I'll be the only one here every 6 months or so to remind you that in your budgeting, you do have to budget for maintenance of these facilities as well. We can't only depend on the bonds. And just to keep even, you're north of $100 million a year to keep even on the facilities, not counting the bonds. Okay. Next. Okay, so we have 3 bonds that we're working on right now. Prop S was the first one that was done many years ago before the crash, actually maybe 2 days before the crash in 2008. So that bond came out, and I got to give the board credit. I think some of you might even still have been there then. Gave the board credit, did not want to raise taxes on the public from Prop MM, even though me as one of your advisors advised you to do just that, and you guys said, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to just put it out there at the same tax rate, continue it on. We can keep going. We're fine. The next day, the housing crisis hit, and there was really no money for Prop S anyway, even though we had that bond out there. So we had to go out to the public for Prop Z, and again, being completely honest with them, said, okay, well, we got to raise your taxes. And it went up $60 per 100,000 allowed by law. The public said, you're doing a good job, and voted to continue that, which was great. Then if you look at, how much money it takes to keep these up, even those 2, we had about $8 million total that needed to be spent. We're about $3 million into it, so we get to Prop Y, and that got passed just a year ago, which added some more money to it. So one of the key things for the ICOC now is not only keeping track of the construction projects, but keeping track of the money where it's actually coming from, because even though we've put it all under one committee, we've put it under one construction team, the money has to be tracked back to the individual bond that the public voted on and make sure the projects were what the public voted on for that particular bond. And I think that's being done very well. If you ever get a list of the projects like we do, it'll say next to it what percentage Prop S, what percentage YY, percentage developer fees, whatever it is that paid for the project. So that's being done. Okay, obviously open to the public. We're Brown Act guided. Main committee's the 3rd Thursday of the month, and I talked about all the other things that we did. We also, if you can't make meetings, which most people can't because they're in the middle of the day, everything is online, the meeting agendas, the minutes, the audit reports. There's quarterly reports that we put out, as well as an annual report of all the projects that are done and everything you need to know. And no, it can't be the end of the slide, so. Yeah, I guess it is. Look at that. Okay, that's about everything. So that's what the committee does. Just one last thing to add on those reports. If you go online, there are links on those lines to each of the reports. So that only shows one of the pages, but one of the pages actually has dots next to every report, every agenda, every minute. You just click on it, it'll go right to it on the website for the public to see. So open for any questions. I appreciate the opportunity to continue serving. I thank you for that. It's great. I mean, the bottom line, and I think it's true of everything we do here, not just the oversight committee, not just the bond committee, not just staff or the board, but the idea is student learning, right? So everything else, if you keep it in mind, are we doing something that's going to help student learning or not, we're probably on the right path. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have no speakers, I gather. Board members, any comments?
Yeah, I just had one question. You had mentioned about the audits and then the performance audits.
Right.
Are those internal audits or an external?
It's an external auditor. It is the same auditor that the district uses for all their audits, and that's, for convenience as well as some cost savings. We have in the past, I think at least one time, and we recommend at least maybe every 10 years or so, you bring in a fresh set of eyes just to take a look. It's not something I would recommend every year, because though I told you need to spend a lot of money on maintenance on the schools, I prefer you spend money on teachers and counselors than on, doubling the cost of an audit. But about every 10 years or so, get a second set of eyes just to make sure they're not looking at the same thing and just seeing what they always saw.
Okay. And then on the audit, you said there were no findings, and on the performance audit, you said it was clean. So would you say that would be the equivalent of like an A+?
Yeah, correct. So it's
Okay.
called an unmodified opinion that
Yes.
everything's good. In other
And that's
words-
coming forward next week.
right. You will get it here. You'll hear that too. I'm sorry. The term's clean and no fine. It's the same.
Right. It
same
just
thing.
means an A+.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
100%, whatever you want to.
100%. Thank you.
It's been a while since I've been in the classroom, Kevin.
That's
so I don't know what to do.
Thank you for your
All right,
service.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, but we will get that report
I have one more
next week.
question, Andy. In terms of, you did a good explanation of the Facilities Condition Index
Yes.
and how it's gone down. At one point, there were some news reports that it had gone up, so I don't know if there was a blip, because I understand we could spend a lot of money,
So-
and still, it could still go up,
Right.
because the buildings are aging, the value of property goes up, so it's a ratio.
Okay, so if you spend no money, your condition's going to get worse by about $120 million a year.
Right.
So one thing that happened with the bond right after Prop Z passed, two things happened actually. Similarly, a vote by this board, and again, something I disagreed on that I got to admit you were probably right and I was probably wrong. You voted to put air conditioners in school as standalone projects, which actually costs a little more than waiting until you're modernizing it school by school, of course. However, kids were sweltering in the classroom and couldn't learn, so that made sense. Secondly, you front-loaded a lot of the technology, right? The smart boards and the stuff that were there. And again, I said, well, they're going to see the schools. But again, this was going back to what I said, student learning is the key. And we could see by the test scores immediately after putting those smart boards in the schools, they just increased enormously. A really big showing of that, because although I learned very well with a teacher having his or her back to me writing on a blackboard, my kids don't learn that way. So they need the technology and need those tools. And so to answer your question, the reason it went up is because we were not spending a lot of money initially after the bond on actually painting the ceilings and redoing the
So
walls and stuff
in
like
that 2008 to 2014 time period, it might have gone up a little, and then
Right.
since then it's gone down.
Well, and the other factor there is, remember, 2008, until Prop Z was passed, there was really no money to spend, period, because
Yeah.
the property tax values had actually decreased in this area because of the housing crash.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Mr. Burrell?
No, Andy, I just want to, again, thank you for your service. And I think as well as anybody, that part of the reason that the taxpayers have confidence in voting yes on bond measures is because they know there's an independent citizens oversight committee that's performing the role that you're performing, and it's holding the district accountable to what we said we're going to do, in the bond measures. And so I think your work is, a big reason why we're able to put that kind of investment into the community. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I hope that's true. And I've said this before. I didn't say this tonight, but I'll say it again. Right now, this is the best run program I've been associated with. If that changes, you'll be the first to know. That's our job, right?
We're sure. Dr. Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Andy. I want to thank you and the committee, and just adding on to what Trustee Barrera is saying, it is so important that our community knows that we can be held accountable. We have transparency, we have openness. The fact that you have the links that allow people to take a look at what we're doing, where we're doing it, and to what degree we are fulfilling our promise to our taxpayers to spend the money wisely. And I just want to expand on the comment you made about the $1.5 million a day that these bonds are pumping in basically into our local community with local workers, with local jobs. A lot of these jobs are being held by the families who have children in our schools. In addition to that, if we take our $1.3 billion budget, divide that by 365 days, that's another $3 to $4 million a day. And our district budget is 90% employees. So if you take that 1.5 million plus another 3.5, we're pretty close to $4 to $5 million a day that this school district is pumping into our local community to provide jobs and support for our families. I just want to thank you and your committee for allowing us to be able to have that opportunity to do that and to so we can continue to do it in the future.
If I could just add to that, too, it's not just jobs, it's careers. So a lot of these people that start working on these construction projects because they're there get jobs as apprentices because there is work there. No apprentice program can take anybody if they don't have work for them. They get in there, they go through the apprentices program, whether it's 5 years electrical or 4 years with the laborers or the painters or whatever trade it happens to be. And even when they're not working one of your schools, they're working and earning really good wages and benefits that you can support a family on, even in the high cost San Diego. So.
And that's why I say I want to expand it, Michael, to my community, which is not reaping all the benefits that we're talking about. I mean, maybe
I would hope they would be. I don't know.
No, we need to talk about that to see if we can
Offline, we'll do
expand it. But thank you for that.
Okay,
and thanks for all your hard work. And with that, we'll move on to item D3.
I'd like to move item D3, staff recommendation for the renewal of Magnolia Science Academy.
Second on that? Do we have any presentation on it? No? No staff presentation, any speakers?
We did that.
No speakers? Okay, let's vote then. And that passes 5-0. Sorry you had to wait for that 5-0, but we're there. Thank you. Item D4. Everybody here for Ifton, wave your hand. All right. All right. So, like with staff, they have 10 minutes. We have no staff presentation, but they're available for questions.
It's a public hearing.
Yes. And with that, Marty?
Yes, we have several speakers on this item. It will be a 10-minute total for all. I've been told that Ali Hori, Abdi Mohammed, Yolanda Charles.
How many speakers do you have?
There are 14 total speakers.
Just so that everybody's clear, she's going to call all 14 names, and you have 10 minutes to decide how you're going to break it up. It's a total of 10 minutes. And charters are usually good at it, better than we are as staff. But
So our first speakers are Ali Hori, Abdi Mohammed, Yolanda Charles, and Abdul Karim Warsameh. Then Joe Udall, Aiden Ali, Soraya Mumin, Abdikar Salad, Nadia Moose, Dekwa Farah, Maha Pranda, Soraya Murin, and Faisal Ali. And I apologize for saying anyone's name incorrectly.
thank you. You may begin.
All right, good evening, honorable board members. Our superintendent, City Martin, is not here. He's there. Good evening, and our charter office personnel, Judy Walsh. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight to present to you Ifton community. We're here united tonight to follow the footsteps of the founders of this school, parents that came here a decade ago before you in this room and asked to establish Ifton. Tonight, we're here to continue that legacy. And we are committed to student-centered education. On our board and our staff members and our community, we are here tonight not only to show support for our school, but also to thank you for the job that you do for all our children in San Diego at large. As a board member and a parent, Iftin has become a center for student learning and also for parent engagement, where it also helps all members of our community not only to volunteer in the classroom of your students, but also you can also become a board member and a board president, in my case, to also further engage in our community at large. I know I'm running over my time, and I will give you the rest of the team to present to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, board members, board president, and our superintendent Martin, and charter school office division. Charter school office division. My name is Ali Hori, Iftin Charter School principal. I would like to first recognize all the hard workers by the great teachers, parents, administration, board members, community, and the community members. We have a shared goal for every child in Iftin Charter School should be a success for education, emotion, and also the social emotion. Our vision is providing every child for the 21st century the skills necessary to become the active and the effective, the global citizens. 72% in Iftin Charter School, the English, the students, they are English learners. But I believe we are going the right direction after we working hard, and most of our students, they get the champion for the state test. And also, I would like to share with you, we are a partnership, the San Diego State Incas, and also the San Diego County. We to the coaching and the training, professional development, including the curriculum and also instructional, leadership, and the student support. We are proud also the creating in this school year for our family resource room and the convenience for where the parents is access for the resource. Information they're keeping the parents and the children connected with the additional resource. Tonight, I stand in front of the San Diego board members, board, and also our superintendent, Sidney Pearl, and our charter office, Tetro, to renewal in Iftin Charter School, because Iftin is a very successful school. Finally, thank you very much for your service for the San Diego Uniform School District, because this is a huge responsibility, but I believe you did a great job. Thank you, Charter Office, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, honored members of the board, superintendent, charter division. My name is Abdi Mahmoud, operations manager. In the handout, third page, you will find Iftin meets the renewal criteria. The academic performance of Iftin is at least equal or higher to the academic performance of public schools and charter pupils would otherwise attend, as well as the academic performance of schools in the district. We show growth in academic achievement school-wide among numerically significant pupil subgroups, particularly in mathematics. Please note we have compared ourselves to schools where charter is located. We are performing equal or better to district schools where charter is located, or similar demographics. We are still performing equal or better to district schools with similar demographics. An area of pride, we show growth with students in disabilities throughout the years, and English learners subgroups, we are performing higher than district and state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Yolanda Charles, and I'm the instructional leader at Iftin Charter School. And at Iftin, we believe in a shared leadership among all the stakeholders, and we do that because we're working for every child every day. We ensure that through the work that we do, our primary focus is student engagement and student learning, and we do that through our project-based learning and guided reading, guided math, and social-emotional learning that you'll see as you come through the school. We celebrate our diversity, and we are a safe harbor for all students and families. Thank you for your time, and we are hopeful to continue our partnership and service with San Diego Unified for the next 5 years. Thank you.
My name is Joe Udall. I have been teaching at Ifton Charter School for 9 years. I go back year after year because of my talented students, my passionate colleagues, and my loving parents. Ifton is my home. Stand up if Ifton is your home. Stand up. It's our home. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ifton. We have a couple of students here.
There's a green button there.
I'm here, and I'm here to show you the rules of Ifton. I show integrity and focus. I'm independent, tolerant, and nurturing towards others because I choose enlightenment and will be knowledge and will use my knowledge to transform the world.
Hello, my name is Soraya Moomin. I currently attend Ifton Charter School. I am in 7th grade. I have been attending Ifton Charter School since kindergarten. I believe Ifton is more than a school. It not only pushes students like myself to reach their highest potential, but establishes the keys needed to be a contributing member of society. I plan on promoting from Ifton and coming back to spend my spare time to volunteer and give back to the same community that has built the foundation I need to truly succeed in life. 5 more years, come on.
Hello, my name is Deka Farah. I graduated from Ifton Charter School in 2013, and I went there since 1st grade. After graduating, I went back to volunteer, and I currently attend SDSU, where I plan on graduating early this spring and going to law school. I would just say that Ifton Charter School is more than a school. It's an establishment that promotes deeper knowledge and pushes students to reach greater heights. I plan on bringing my future children to Ifton, hopefully if you give us 5 more years. Thank you.
Hi, and I'm Ramla Sahid. I'm the Executive Director of PANA, the Partnership for the Advancement of New Americans. We're a nonprofit that's for advancing the civil liberties and the interest of newcomer families and refugees and our immigrant communities in the city of San Diego. Having strong parent engagement and community support is critical to student success and well-being. I think tonight what you see is that strong parent and community engagement, ensuring that students, their needs are met and that they're happy, healthy, and ready to learn. I didn't go to Ifton, but this is the type of school I wish I had growing up. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here to meet you. This is my first time I've been here. I'm a proud parent of Ifton.
Welcome.
I didn't plan any speech or anything, but I'm so proud to be Ifton parent. I have one child, and I will never take anywhere else because she feels home. That's where she feels she belongs to. She feels comfortable. She's the only a child that I have, and that's the only place she feels that she has brothers and sisters. And I will please you to renew Ifton Charter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Member of the board, my name is Abdul Kadir. I am a parent. We are here today to support Ifton Charter School get its 5 years renewal. Ifton Charter School has given so many children hope, not only hope and ability to learn. in order our children to succeed, we are supporting Iftin Charter gets 5 years renewal. Over the last 3 years, I have 4 boys that attended Iftin Charter School, and I have observed them, the growth that they have achieved Iftin Charter School, and I'm a very proud father. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, this is our last one. It's 3 seconds.
My name is Belinda. I graduated this year. I'm now in high school. I'm 9th grade. This school was a family for me. I graduated, but my brother's still here, so I want that 5 more years, but I can learn too much like how I do.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for this public hearing. The public hearing section of it is now closed. So thank you all. And with that, let's hear, we have no other speakers or comments related to this, so let's hear from the board members. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the parents, students, staff that are here from Iftin. The energy and the power you bring to this room tonight is alive and well in your school in the heart of City Heights. Can feel it and can see it. Happy to see you here and look forward to staff recommendation. And it's promising. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I visited you not too long ago, and I remember you tried to feed me some food that I don't eat. But yes, we look forward to the follow-up to this. But thank you all for coming out tonight. Superintendent, did you have anything else? No. Well, thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you very much for all the students and parents and staff and the community. I mean, what Iftin has done is bring the community together to provide a great educational opportunity for so many students that otherwise would be marginalized and I feel not receive a quality education that they're getting at Iftin. So I look forward to voting yes for your renewal.
Thank you. Now, let us move on to item D5.
Second.
We have the motion on the floor for D5. King Chavez. Let's see, with that one, we don't have any staff presentations. Do we have any more speakers? No speakers. Then we're ready to vote if there are no questions. Let's vote on it.
Question. But
okay, McGinn.
after I voted.
After you voted, you've got a question. Okay.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm wondering, King Chavez has 5 charters within our district, and is there 1 or 2 outside of the district?
So they currently have 6 charters within our school district, authorized by us. Within the action tonight, it is proposing to merge 2 of them, so there'll be 5 charters operating within our district. They do not have any other charters that they operate outside of our district.
And then 3 of those charters, the primary and the art and the athletics, are all on the same campus?
That's correct, yes.
And I understand there is an effort to combine those and pull them together, and they're in a transition period?
Correct. So,
excuse me, would you just wait 1 second until they just finish this question, and we'll let you egress? Go ahead.
If the board votes to approve staff action tonight, it's combining arts and athletics into 1 school. So King Chavez primary would be 1 school, and King Chavez arts and athletics would be the 2nd school.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we've voted, and it passes 5-0. So thank you to that. I visited the school the last couple of weeks or so and had a wonderful time there. Thanks for the invitation. I'm a real sucker for invitations to schools, I think, right? Yes. But
I'll second item D6.
Just before we move on this one, I promise you'd have the chance to leave. So for Iftin and those who wanted to leave, we'll give you a couple of minutes to. Thank you. Rub it. This door, you may egress this through this door also. This door.
The front door is also open if people want to go out the front door. No.
Okay, for those of you who are remaining, if you'll just quietly exit, then we'll continue with our agenda.
Somebody in the audience seems to have left their phone. It's a pink, if I'm not colorblind, it's a pink, it says Mercury on the back, Apple phone. Has a cute picture of a little kid in a basketball shirt. T-Mobile. Whose phone? Somebody forgot their cell phone?
Police. Thank you all. Now let us get back on item D6. And yes, we're on Adeo Charter School. This is an action item, and I'd like a motion on it.
Richard moved it, and I seconded.
Oh, you already did? Okay. You already have it. Okay, good. Let's see. No staff presentation, but you're available for question. Any speakers? No speakers? Okay. Anybody else want to comment? Otherwise, let's vote. And that passes 5-0 also. Thank you. Item D7, McGill School of Success. This is a public hearing to consider the renewal of the charter petition. No staff presentation on this. Do we have any speakers? No speakers.
Yeah, no, we do.
We do. Yeah,
they're actually trying to get in here. But anyway, good evening. I'll get them started. I wasn't sure whether I should start it off, but here I am.
Ma'am, are you planning to have a group of speakers?
Yes.
Then you'll have 10 minutes total?
Yes.
For the whole group?
Yes. And here they come.
And if you could please say your name when you speak, because we do not have you on the speaker list.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President and board members. My name's Norma Cáceres. I'm on the McGill Board of Directors as president. I've actually had the pleasure of being on the McGill board for, I think, 11 years. And that's when Reverend George Walker Smith snatched me and said he could use my services. But anyway, we're here today to, as part of the McGill family, you see they're coming in right now, to request your approval of the charter renewal of Chancellor William McGill School of Success for the next 5 years. Unfortunately, unlike other years, we're missing a really vital member of our McGill family, and that's our leader and founder, Reverend George Walker Smith. You may be aware that he did suffer a stroke recently, and so he is in rehab right now. But he made sure that I told you, don't forget, we've been here a long time and we want to continue being here. You know that McGill School opened in 1996. It's one of the oldest charter schools in California. And he did include a letter of support in the packet as well. I know this is difficult, decisions that need to be made. And the petition that we've submitted to the charter office, thank you to Deidre and staff, it does share about our successes, absolutely, and then also about our obstacles that we've had. In spite of these, McGill has continued to serve children from predominantly low-income families. But even with Common Core, McGill has reached academic proficiency compatible to demographically similar schools. I'm happy to report financially we have been very responsible and in very good standing all these years. Our audits always turn out great. And our board is composed by community members and parents dedicated to the well-being of our students. I'd like our board members to please stand up also. Josh Nelson, Idalia Rodriguez, over here, Anita Beaver, Ed Heischetter, and Dr. Bob Brown, and Dennis Morgan and Charles Gully. I think we're trying to get over here, do the traffic. Anyway, and talking about our students, let me turn it over to them to tell you about what makes McGill a little school with a big heart. Go ahead.
Hello, buenas tardes. My name is Meredith Resendiz, and I am an ASB president for McGill School of Success. McGill's a great school, and I love it. My friends and I get to have music, art, dance PE, Spanish enrichment, and a 6 to 6 programs with ballet, chorus, science, cheer, and many more classes. Yes, we also have Common Core. We have a new program called Benchmark. I like it because it brings leaders to our school to teach us about government and citizenship. I also like McGill because it teaches us the 7 habits of a happy kids to be great leaders. Personally, my favorite habit is win-win. See McGill a cool place to be. So I hope you can help us keep our school open. Better yet, come visit us so you can see for yourselves why we should stay open. Here are some letters we wrote for you. Muchas gracias.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I am extremely humbled to stand before you today as McGill's principal and CEO. As a 20-year veteran educator, I have worked in various positions serving the neediest students from City Heights, Lakeside, and Lemon Grove. I can honestly say that McGill School of Success is what an inner-city school across America should be doing. As a small school, it has created a nurturing environment where children are known on a first-name basis, establishing positive relationships with the adults that teach them. Research has proven that this is to be the core of the meaningful education and treats adverse childhood experiences. McGill also incorporates many of what other schools have cut, the arts of music, dance, PE, theater, choir, to name a few, which has proven to be a core of inspiration and creativity. McGill also has had an after-school extended school state grant and the 21st Century federal grant to serve our families from 6 to 6. The vision Reverend Walker Smith has had slowly been fulfilled. In the last year, 3 of you have visited our school during men's reading and other events. You express gratitude and left with a special touch that defines McGill. Academically, as Mrs. Cáceres stated, we score compatible to other demographically similar schools. As a National Board certified teacher, I can tell you, however, that this is not enough. I am committed to increasing the academic achievement of McGill students just as I have done in my prior school sites. Mr. Barrera, Dr. Evans, about 10 years ago, as an SDEA representative and SDOP leader, I met with you at the SDEA office to discuss community-based schools. That vision we had is one that I see fulfilled in McGill. Please allow us the opportunity to continue serving our children by approving our renewal for our charter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeanette Mesa. I am the mother of 2 lovely children at McGill. This is their first year at McGill. I switched them from another school, and let me tell you, this school is amazing. My kids have become more secure of themselves. I know the teachers, I can just send them a message and they message me back right away. There's no waiting or another day to get an email back. And there's nothing else I can say than it's just an amazing school. Miss Sandoval used to be my teacher in middle school, also my husband's teacher, and I know how caring she is and strict, which I love. And I couldn't have gone to another school better than this. Thank you.
I also like to stop for a minute and acknowledge our staff. We have a lot of our staff members present. Can I have everyone please stand, our teachers and staff? I'm very proud to say that, I don't know if you guys read the Voice of San Diego article recently. McGill is one of the charters with the highest teaching rate in I think the county, and we were recognized for that, saying that most charters end up releasing their senior teachers. We don't. We are a family, and we take care of our own. We honor the work and the sacrifice that they do in our school. Our veteran secretaries are also a vital part of our history, and so this is what defines the McGill family. And I think there's no other greater legacy that our Reverend left for us than to be able to continue the community-based school that we are. And this is just a snippet of all the different programs that we offer, but we're going to also be offering ballet and other wonderful programs for our children in the 6 to 6 program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you. Do we have any comments from the board members? Before you do, I'd like to say that I did visit Reverend George Walker Smith last week at the Rehabilitation Center, and it was good to see him. Yes. We took a picture together, yes. It was very good to see him. He was in good spirits. His mind is as sharp as ever. And I was just happy to see him. So thank you all. Any other comments, questions, Dr. Mike?
Thank you for the letters.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the letters as well, as Trustee Evans has mentioned. Thank you for the questions that you've asked in your letters, and for the thought that you've given to the work here. In addition, I want to thank you for the invitation, so I will take you up on your invitation to come out to McGill to see what you are doing. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Very good, Michael. I think John and I have already been out there, haven't we?
Yes. I like the quote from here, "I'm running for SB Vice President. My friend is also running, but that didn't stop me from running. Instead, we helped each other with our posters. So I'd like to know if you had a friend that you ran against, and if you had any troubles, or if you were nervous."
Very good. Thank you all for coming, and I believe that closes any questions or comments, superintendent or staff. We will revisit this item coming up in next month, I believe it is. So we thank you for coming out and making your presentation. Good to see you, Dr. Bob. Thank you all. That moves us to item E1.
Second, E1, ratification of the agreement with Price Philanthropies Foundation to accept the grant funds for the Mental Health Resource Center.
We have the motion on the floor with the second on it. There's no staff presentation. Do we have any speakers on it? No speakers? Any comments? In that case, let's please vote. Move it. And that passes 5-0, and that moves us to public participation. Thank you all for that. The non-agenda public testimony. Do we have any? None. None. Wow. This completes our board meeting. The next regular board meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, and thanks to all of you who stayed, thanks to our guests who observed, and hopefully you can give us some feedback on our board meeting. Thank you for being here with us. And that will close the meeting.